Hi crocheters of the world! In this tutorial I want to show you how to work this beautiful pattern stitch named a grain spike, and it's really obvious why the name of this pattern is grain spike, because it looks the motifs look like a grain or grain spikes. Okay, now the multiple the multiple of this pattern is 10 plus 1. This means that we will work groups of 10 chains for the length that we need for what we choose to work with this pattern. Actually, now here I am working on a neck warmer, and I will show you later the neck warmer ready. And 10, so groups of 10 plus 1. Okay, now another very important thing is that for this stitch it looks difficult and complicated, but I hope I find an explanation that will make it easier to understand. Now, the pattern is composed by sequences of entire spikes, grain spikes, as you can see here, and sequences of entire and half on one side and half on the other side. Now, the number of entire spikes depends on the number of the multiple. So if you choose to put 30, as I put here, chains, plus 1 of course, you will have 3 entire motif spike, grain spikes motif. If you choose to put 20, you'll have 2, and so on. And there will be sequences, alternate sequences with the entire number and with the entire number of spikes without 1. So in this case 2, and the 1 will be divided into halves on the beginning and on the end of the row. And this is so in this tutorial I will show you how to work this pattern in rows, but there will be another tutorial where I will explain to you how to work it in rounds. And actually I want to make a nice hat, winter hat, of course, because this is a very winter pattern. So you can work scarves, neck warmers, cardigans, or sweaters, or I don't know, bags, blankets, okay, so on. Depends on your imagination. Okay, so let us begin. For this swatch I will work on 20 chains plus 1, of course. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, this is what I have. Now, if I don't say the crochet hook number and the weight of the yarn that I work with, this means that you can work it with any kind of yarn and crochet hook. Of course, this is a winter pattern, so you will need a I don't know, a little bit a yarn, wool yarn or acrylic yarn, or from medium to to bigger yarn. Okay, I don't remember the word. So that's it. Of course, it's a pattern that it looks good with wool yarn. Okay, you can try it with cotton yarn too, but I don't think so. Who knows? Okay, now let us begin the pattern. So let us focus on the pattern. So I have 21 chains, and now I will keep the finger on my last chain and I will work 3 more. And these 3 are of course our first double crochet. Okay, into the same chain where I kept the finger on, I will work 1 more double crochet. So we will work this this pattern in groups of 3 double crochets, and we will always have 1 double crochet to begin and 1 double crochet to finish. So these 2 double crochets, actually we don't count them into the pattern, okay? There are just to begin and to finish the pattern. There is something more. For this pattern you need to know the front post double crochet and back post double crochet and the puff stitch. So you can just go on and watch how. I don't have a playlist for the beginners, so there are plenty of tutorials, and you know I always recommend you the crochet jig, and you will find how to work the front post and the back post double crochet and the puff stitch. Okay, so you need actually these 2 stitches to know in order to understand the pattern. Okay, so we have our 1 double crochet, because I said the first is we don't want to count it as a stitch into the pattern. Okay, then we want to work 1 more into the second chain and 1 more into the third. So the first group of 3 double crochets. Okay, now chain 2 and skip 2 chains, and into the third work a 1, 2, yeah, into the third work a single crochet, chain 2, skip 2 chains, and into the third work your next group of 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. Okay, now chain 2, and for the next group of 3 double crochet we will work the first one where we worked the last of the previous group, so here into the same chain. Okay, 1, then into the next chain the second, and into the next chain the third. Okay, and now we want to repeat this for the length that we consider, that we choose for our project. So again, chain 2, single crochet, chain 2. So chain 2, skip 2 chains and single crochet into the third, chain 2 and skip 2 chains and work the group of 3 double crochets. And you just have to go on like this, repeating these steps for the length that you need for your project. Okay, and we want to finish the round with a double crochet into the same chain that we worked the last double crochet of the last group of 3. Okay, so we just finished the first row. Now from the second row we will work with front post double crochet on the front side and back post double crochet on the back side. Okay, so chain 3 for the first double crochet, so we don't count as a stitch into the pattern, and this is our front side. So we will begin to work our first group of 3 double crochets with front post double crochets. So let us begin. 1, 2 and and 3. Okay. Now we will work here a chain 2 and we will skip directly into the next group of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2 and 3. So work front post double crochets. Okay, now here where we have the chain 2, we want to work chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space of the previous row and chain 2 again, and the next group of double crochet we work 3 front post double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and now we want to repeat. So where we have chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, we work only a chain 2, and into the last group of 3 double crochets we just work 3 double crochets, but front posts, not normal double crochet. Okay, and we don't want to forget to work our last double crochet into the chain 3, third chain of the beginning chain 3 of the previous row. Okay, now from here we want to begin the first section, I can say. Okay, or maybe first part, I don't know, section part. There will be 2 parts divided by 2 rows. So the first part is the part where we will work the entire grain spikes, and the one that is divided in 2 halves at the beginning, at the end. And the second section will be the section or the part where we will work the whole spikes. Okay, and there will be 2 rows in between these 2 parts. I don't know how to name them, so prepared rows for the next part. Okay, so let us begin with the first part. Chain 3 to begin and turn. Now we are on the back side of our work. So the back side, you can see we have these horizontal relieved rounds, so bumped rounds here. Okay, so we know that it's the back side, and we will work back posts double crochet. Okay, so to begin we will work in between the first double crochet and the first group. So here we will work the first puff stitch. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now chain 1 to secure and chain 1. Now work the 3 double crochets with back post double crochet, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now here we want to close actually these 2 groups, so we will skip the chain 2 and we will work the second group of 3 double crochets, of course with the back post double crochet. We are on the back side of the work, so okay, so this is what we have so far, the puff stitch, chain 1, and we work the 6 back posts. Okay, and now here we want to begin actually one entire grain spike, so we will work like this, chain 1, insert a hook into the single crochet here in the middle and work the first puff stitch, 1, 2, 3, chain 1 to secure, chain 1, and into the same single crochet work the second puff stitch, Okay. Chain 1 and skip directly into the next group of 3 double crochets and work them as back post double crochets. 2 and 3. Okay, now we want again to close these two groups to create just one, so we will just skip the 2 chains and we will work the next group of 3 double crochets as back post double crochet. Okay, and now we don't have to forget to work our puff stitch for the second half of the spike. So in between the group of 3 double crochet and the last double crochet, which is our chain 3, beginning chain 3 of the previous row, we work our puff with chain 1 first, sorry, so chain 1 and in between work your puff. Okay. Chain 1 to secure and into the third chain of the beginning chain 3 work your double crochet. Okay, so this is the first row of the first section. Okay, this row we want to repeat it 3 more times, but so it's the same thing, only that we will change the front post with the back post, as we will work on the back side or the right side of the work. Now we worked on the back side, and of course we want to chain 3 and to turn our work and to work on the front side. So we will work all this row. We will repeat the same thing but working the double crochets as front post double crochet. Then into the third row we will work the same thing but working the double crochet as back post, and into the fourth row we will work the same thing but working the double crochet as front post double crochet. So chain 3 in between the first double crochet and the first group, and sorry, the first puff, sorry, because we already have the puff stitch. So in between the double crochet and the puff stitch work the puff stitch. 2 and 3. Chain 1 to secure and chain 1. Now skip directly into the first group of 3 double crochets and work your 3 double crochets as front posts, because we are working on the right side of the project. Okay, now work your next 3 double crochets. 1, 2. So actually we joined the 2 groups of 3 double crochets. Now we have 6 here. Okay. Now we work exactly the same to continue working the spike, grain spike. So chain 1 into the chain 1 in between the 2 puff stitches, work 1 puff stitch, chain 1, 1 puff stitch, chain 1 and puff stitch again. 2 and 3. Chain 1 again, and now just repeat what you did before. So the 6 double crochets worked as front posts because we are on the front side. I will repeat this over and over again because it's very important. Okay. Five and 6, and now we don't have to forget to work the chain 1 and in between the puff and the last double crochet the puff stitch. 1, 2 and 3. So we are working the puff divided, one side and the other side, and one entire puff. Spike. It's about spike. So now you just have to repeat these 2 these 2 rows to complete the first part. with one spike entire and one split in two parts, the beginning and the end. So I finished my first section, my first part of the spike. So I have my entire spike and my two halves. Finished. There are 4 rows for one spike that composed one spike. Okay, now we will work 2 rows that we will allow us to continue on with the second part. Actually, in these 2 rows we will prepare the second part. So we will open here where we work 6 together for the next 2 spikes, and we will close this entire spike, and we will continue on without these 2 parts of the spike, so without these puffs actually. Okay, now let's see. Chain 3. So we finished the first spike, the first part of the pattern on the front side, and now we are going on the back side. So chain 3 and skip all you have here, so the puff and the chain, and insert the hook directly around the first double crochet, working the double crochets on the back side, back posts, sorry, and work 3 of them. So 3 double crochets. Now chain 2, we want to open this group of 6 for the next 2 spikes, and work the next group of 3 double crochets. Okay, so this is what we have, a chain 2 in between, and we want to close this grain spike, and to close it we work chain 2 into the chain 1, a single crochet and chain 2, and work again 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Okay, 3, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. To complete the row, we skip directly into the 1, 2, 3, the third chain of the beginning, chain 3, and we will work our double crochet. Okay, and this is what we have on the first row that divide the 2 parts. Now the second, it's really easy. On the second row we will work almost the same, but here on the chain 2 we will work chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, and here to close the spike we will work only a chain 2 in between the 2 groups, and here we will repeat this one. Okay, now chain 3 for the double crochet and work directly your first group of double crochets, front posts, because we are on the right side of the project. So as I said, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 of the previous row and chain 2 again, and the next group of 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. Okay, now here we want to close the grain spike, and we will chain 2, and we will skip all and we'll work the next group of 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. Okay, and here we will work chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, and the last group of 3 double crochets. Okay, as front, of course, as front posts, because we are on the front side of the work. Okay, and now into the chain 3 of the beginning chain 3, work your double crochet. So now we finished the 2 preparing rows, okay, for the second part. And as you can see on the second part, we will work these 2 entire grain spikes, and here we will work 6 double crochets together for 4 rows, because we have 4 rows for a spike. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now we can just move on to the second part. So to the second 1, 2, 3, 4 actually rows. So as you can see, we have the first part 4 rows plus 2 rows to create the foundation, let's see, for the second part, and then the second part also 4 rows, and then we'll have 2 more rows to create the foundation for the first part. Okay, so for the second part, really easy. Let us begin. Chain 3. We don't have anymore the puff stitch, so we just skip directly into the first group of 3 double crochets, and because we are on the back side, we will work back posts, double crochets. So 3 back post double crochets. And now let us begin our grain spikes. Chain 1 into the single crochet, work the first puff. 2, 3. Chain 1 to secure, chain 1 again, and into the same single crochet, work your second puff, and chain 1 again. Now the second group of 3 double crochets, working back post double crochets on it because we are on the back side. We will skip the 2 chains and we will work directly, we will work directly the next group. So we will have our 6 double crochets for the next 3 rows for of the second part, and now again the entire spike. So chain 1 into the single crochet, work the first first puff stitch, sorry, this, chain 1 again, and the next puff, chain 1 and chain 1 again, and work your last group of 3 double crochets, 2 and 3 back posts, of course, and 1, 2, 3 into the third chain, the double crochet to finish the row. This is what we have. This is the back side and this is the front side. And as you can see, we just began our second part with the 2 grain spikes entire motifs. Okay, here we had on the first part 1 and the next one split in 2 parts, and here we have the 2 entire motifs. So this is the idea. How many, I don't know how many motifs, grain spikes you will put. So it's the group of 10, as I said, of 10 chains at the beginning. So if you put 40, you will have 4 motifs of grain spikes. 4. And on the first part you will work 3 entire and 1 split in twice. And on the second part, which is this one, you will work 4 entire motifs of grain spikes, as I have here 3. So on the first part I worked 2 entire and 1 split in twice, and on the second part I worked 3 entire, and so on. Of course, with these 2 rows, preparation rows in between the 2 parts. Okay, now you can just continue on repeating this first row of the second part. So chain 3, we are on the right side, so we are working front posts. So front posts, 1, 2 and 3. Then for the spike, chain 1, into the chain 1 space in between the puffs, work your first puff, chain 1, and the second puff, and a chain 1. Then work your 6 double crochets as front posts because we are on the front side. 1, 2, 3, and the next 3. Okay. Now chain 1 again, and into the chain 1 space work 1, 2 and 3 for the puff, chain 1 and the second puff. Again chain 1 and complete the row with the last. If you are working on this watch with me, you can just continue on and make a beautiful headband if you want to. It will be really, really nice. If you don't want just to, I don't know, do and undo, just to have a project. Okay, now you just have to, oops, I forgot about the last 1, 2, 3, the last double crochet, and it's very important. Okay, now you just have to go on with this, repeating these rows 2 more times to complete your grain spikes, entire grain spikes. And then I will be back to show you finally the last 2 rows for the repeating sequence. So I finished. I completed with 2 more rows for the second part, the part with the entire motifs, grain spikes. And now we have only 2 more rows to work, and then we just have to repeat the first part, then the first 2 rows, foundation rows, and the second part, and these 2 rows, and so on until you reach the length of your project with this. And for these 2 rows we will just want to close these 2 grain spikes, and we want to open 1 here and 2 on both sides, 2 halves, sorry, so actually something like this. So this is the 2 rows preparing for the first part. So chain 3, we are on the back side and we are working back posts, 3 back posts. Okay, and now here to close the grain spike we want to chain 2, single crochet into the chain 1 space in between and chain 2 again, then skip on the next 3 double crochet, and we work them as back post double crochets. Only that we want to open them, so to divide them again in 3 and 3 we worked 6 here, so we want to divide them, so chain 2 and work 3 more double crochets as back posts. And now again chain 2, single crochet into the chain 1 space in between the puffs and chain 2. And now work your last 3 double crochets and of course the double crochet into the third chain of the beginning. Chain 3. Now chain 3 again and turn on the front side and work 3 double crochets. Oops. Then here work 2 chains, because we want to close the motif. Then 3 double crochets. We are working front post because we are on the front side. Here where we work the chain 2, we want to chain 2, single crochet, so we prepare for the grain spike in the middle. So chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, and now work your next group of 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and here we just chain 2 and skip into the next group. And yes, now we are ready to repeat the first part. So you are ready to repeat the first part. Okay, now the last double crochet into the third chain, of the beginning chain 3 of the previous row. So here we are. Now we just have to go on and to repeat the first part, the first 2 foundation for the second part, and the second part, and then these 2 foundation rows for the first row again, first part again. Okay, first part, you know, is this part with the split motif, a split motif, yes, and in the middle the perfect motif, so the entire motif. Okay, so that's it. Hope it's clear. It's just you will begin with the 1, 2, 3 from the third row actually, and you will go on where I said we will begin the repeating sequence. There you have to begin and to go on and you work your so the length that you want. Okay, now hope it's all clear. I really did my best to create a good and clear explanation, and I hope I succeeded. And see you at the next tutorial. I think will be the tutorial with the hat, with this beautiful stitch. Bye bye.